is Groundeffected, and my name is your dad, and today we're going to be talking about the GK3 Pro from Uniformation once again. Now I know that Uniformation has had some recent issues This is because they did some things with the shipping, things got completely out of hand, and they ended up growing way bigger than I think they should have. Either way, they had some issues, and this was acknowledged by the owner in his own native language. If you want to know about that, you can go and check out this video. I'll leave a link for it in the description. But either way, they acknowledged the issues that they had, which is a fantastic thing, I think. But I'm not here to tell you about the issues that they had. I have just been asked to make a video about my thoughts on the machine that they sent me, which is the Uniformation GK3 Pro. Now, this is a point of contention for a few people because a lot of people get a little bit confused between what's going on with the Uniformation GK3 Pro Ultra TSB94. It is weird, I know this, but it's very simple, really. So this is the first time that Frankie is editing a video that I have in fact made, so this may be a little bit weird, but I want to tell you that the difference between GK3 and GK3 is quite a lot, to be fair. The most important thing that you need to know is that the GK3 is essentially the new series of printers, and it's what comes after the GK3 that's actually important. So in our case, comparing a GK3 Ultra to a GK3 Pro is like comparing a massive printer to a not so massive printer. So obviously the GK3 Ultra is a larger screen. This is a bigger printer for bigger prints, but it doesn't print quite as low detail, or should I say high detail, low resolution, as what the GK3 Pro does. Yes, all of these words are going to be so confusing, and this is part of the problem with the confusion. The Ultra is the big one. Ultra for ultra big. GK3 is a smaller machine, and the GK3 Ultra is the big one. It's that simple, really. In the GK3 area of before Ultra, you have three machines. There is a Pro, a T, and a B. These are different machines, but not by much. Realistically, the Pro is one that you would only need if you are doing transparent stuff. And the reason for this is because of the light source in this machine. This is the main difference between the T, B, and Pro, is the light source. And that light source is 385 nanometers. 385 nanometers, which is a different wavelength to 405, which is what your standard printer and most of our 3D printers have, is a 405 nanometer light source. Now I could pretend like I was a scientist and I knew everything about that, read up some information online and make myself sound like I'm really clever. All I know is that UV comes in different strengths. One strength is better for clear printing and one strength is better for just everything. And so the Pro, it fits the gap of needing to fit engineering resins and clear resins, and that's it. That's all it is. But there is a cheaper version of this machine using pretty much the exact same LCD, so it's the same printer just with a different light source, and this is more geared up towards what you guys want. And the difference between those three machines is actually the lead screw type. I think that's what the words are for this correct portion of this video, but basically the way that the Z-axis is set up, two of them have a bowl screw and the other one has a T-type. The cheaper version of all of these has a T-type, which in most cases will do just fine. Genuinely, you're probably going to get a new printer before you have any real issues with these screw Z-axis things. I see a lot of people having issues on online talking about, oh, but it won't last and this. Bro, have you seen 3D printers lately? Every 3 months there's a new one. So your FOMO is going to kick in long before that Z-axis dies, I think. And if it doesn't, well, don't quote me on that, because obviously this is not financial advice, and this is just some schmuck on the internet telling you about a 3D printer because he was sent one to tell you about it.
Frankie here, just to let you know that there is a Uniformation giveaway going on the Uniformation Instagram page from July 2nd to July 21st. You have the opportunity to win a GK3T or a GK3 B. This was actually, it started whilst I was editing this video. So I thought it really important to add it to the video to give you a chance to win one of these printers that we're talking about today. Now, back to your dad rambling about the GK3 Pro.
So the build volume of this 3D printer is 211 by 118 millimeters, and the height is 240 millimeters. The exposure speed on this thing, I don't know why they called it the exposure speed, but essentially what they're saying is that your exposure should be around 1.5 to 2.5 seconds per layer. if you're printing at 0.05 millimeters. It is an LCD 3D printer, which means there is a screen, and at some point you may need to change this. I will just say that Uniformation 3D printing machine companies tend to have a very easy, it's like 4 bolts, and you pull out that screen, change the ribbon thing, Bob is your uncle, and it's really easy. They make it super simple. These new printers have got Wi-Fi inside of them, and so you are able to print wirelessly. There is also an app, by the way, that you can monitor your prints and all the... I've been doing this for long enough now that I really don't care to monitor my prints because it's never helped me in the past. Not that I've ever tried it. I'm just one of those that doesn't use monitoring aids, and most of the time, if the light's off, you can't even see what's inside the printer. Luckily though, this printer does come with the lights in it, and you can see it. And what I did notice in Lychee, for example, is that now I can actually see some of the prints happening. It was a brief glimpse that I had a little bit earlier today, and I thought that was kind of cool, but I never ever checked. I've got printers that do have these features already. I've never checked it, but if this is something that you like, then you would like this feature, obviously. Now onto the resolution of these 3D printers, and the screen size is 15,120 by 6,230 pixels. They're saying that's 16K. The only person who can tell you the answer to that is probably Fohammer, because he knows how to do the calculations of these things. To me, it doesn't matter. What matters is the actual print that comes out and the microns that I'm able to go down to when I send out information to that printer. This printer can print in the XY resolution of 14 by 19 microns. This is super low. It's not groundbreaking by any chance, but it is super low and really crisp. Crisp is the technical term that a 3D printer uses for explaining how nice and detailed a print is. All 3 machines are auto-refillable machines, which means they have a little bottle in the back, which means that you can put a little bit of a resin inside of a bottle that goes in the back. It's a very epically cool Uniformation branded bottle shape. Special thing for the back of it, and you can refill it. You don't have to buy their resin. You can use your own resin, and you just stick it in the back of the machine, and it helps to top it up. That gives you essentially an extra kg of resin at the back, so you can fill up your vat with like 800 grams and then just print, and it will hopefully not ever run out. But if it does, I did not. It wasn't my fault. I don't know why. This is a weird situation. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. When it compared to other printers, the screen, I feel like we're using similar screens at this point. I don't want to say they are, and they aren't, but I feel like we're getting a very similar effect from most printers on the market at the moment. This is not a bad printer. It's a really good high-end 3D printer. Okay, so the current prices for the GK3 range of 3D printers are as follows. GK3T is $649.99, whatever the small part of dollars is. The GK3 B is $729.99, and the GK3 Pro is $799.99. There is obviously a link for you to use, which will give a kickback to the channel. That is an affiliate link, and if you use that link with the code, which I will find out and put it in the description down below, don't worry about it though. If you're printing in transparent resin and you need to have internal things to be perfect, then you need the Pro. If you're not printing in transparent resin and you don't really have any issues with printing transparent normally, you don't need the Pro. Literally, it's just a different light source. The new things that they added from the prototype that I was sent before is they put a power button in the front. That's very helpful because obviously if you want to turn it off, you can just turn it off now without having to turn the whole power. It's helpful, put it that way. For those of you who have come from the GK2 era of 3D printing, this 3D printer, in my opinion, while does look and feel a little bit different, has much of that feel of the GK2, for me anyway. It is technically their replacement for it, and annoyingly, the new screen is slightly smaller than the GK2. So yes, that does suck ever so slightly, but after using it for a while, I've used my prototype for almost, I don't know how long now. It's been months, actual months, and I print literally every single day. I've used it for most of my videos. I still use my GK2s and I use my Ultra so much. Like, I'm using them every single video practically, except for when I'm not. I'm using other machines for other videos, but 99% of the time, when I walk in the back with a slice, it is going into one of my Uniformation machines just because they're reliable. They always are working. I can say a couple of other machines are quite reliable as well, but just due to my nature, I'm going straight up to my GK3 Pro is my first choice, and if it doesn't fit on there, then it will be a GK2, but I feel like I can definitely see a difference in quality of prints on the Pro versus the 2. And so I'm going to go with my GK3 Pro first as my first choice, then GK2s, and after that the other machines that I have. The GK3 Ultra for me is pretty much just a base printing machine because it prints large pieces and I don't have to cut them up into little things, which saves me time in filling gaps and stuff. So that is pretty much it for my run-up with those printers. Now once again, this is your money, so whatever you're doing with your money, make sure you have made the right choice and don't just go based off of one guy's opinion on the internet. Now my opinion may be different to other opinions, and that is just how opinions actually work. Now I don't actually care whether you buy from my link or from anyone else's link, or if you just go direct to the website itself. I am not here to sell things, I am just here to tell you about the things. These things were sent to me and luckily I use them for my own jobs, and because I'm doing that all the time, I have a lot of experience in this, and so you can take my word as whatever you want to. I don't actually care, but I will say that I really do like the GK3 Pro. Again, it's a little bit smaller, annoyingly, but it prints super impressively, especially at 0.03. If you really crank in those details and dial it and get it really tuned in, it makes some freaking amazing prints, and it is always consistently doing this, which is a good thing, because if it wasn't consistent I probably wouldn't use it. And now we're at the part of the video where I must say a massive thank you to my Patreons, because without them I wouldn't have lights blind in my eyeballs and be able to keep making videos like this. Of course, this is also the part of the video where I say to you, if you want to buy this machine, go check in the description for a link, and also don't forget about my own Patreon, by the way, where we have one model a month and also extra content whenever I can, which is fairly often but not too often, and also you get paints of lists of paints, things. Patreon link in description. Words are getting hard, which means it must be the end of the video, and this is the part where I get to tell you if you didn't like anything you saw. I really don't care, and you can now kindly off.